Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing alright out there. So, I don't want to make a negative video. I'm trying to think of subjects that are more positive and not negative, but this one I can't avoid. In the past, I've often said to people, if you're having problems finding a problem with your bike, a good place to ask are the owners groups. You know, like Facebook groups for the owners of the model of your bike. Because, you know, all those people own the bike. They're going to know about that bike. They're going to know about any common faults and things like that. It makes perfect sense to ask those people. And should you be asking people that have mechanical knowledge or have owned the bike for a long time, you will find some absolutely fantastic ideas. You'll find ways of getting parts cheap, you know, hard to find things. Someone on that group might have one. It's a great thing. However, I have never seen mechanical advice as sporadic, wrong and downright dangerous than what I've seen on the owners groups on Facebook. And even when there actually is a common issue with a bike and it comes up time and time again in the group, it's not like people seem to ever actually learn what that common issue is and still hurl different things at this person. Now, a perfect example of just how useless these groups tend to be is that people will very regularly buy the bike, not be able to get it running for some reason, and then just film themselves going, why isn't it working, and then ask everyone on there. Now, admittedly, that's not enough information for people to even work on anyway, but when someone puts a video up and they're like, oh, the bike won't start, and it goes from under the seat, and you can hear, you know, the starter solenoid's clicking, the battery's dead, okay? That's what it is. It's the thing you check first, it's going to be the battery. Don't just check it when it's not running, put the bike under load and see if that's what the problem is. Of course it is, 9 times out of 10, more than that, 99 times out of 100, that's what's that going to be. There can be other issues, you know, bad negatives or things like that where you just don't get enough power going through it, maybe it's a sticky solenoid, but normally it's just going to be your battery. This just never gets like easily diagnosed to people like that though on these groups. They're just like, oh, have you checked this? Have you checked this? Oh, have you considered completely rebuilding the engine? Like, does it need that? No. And it's clear that a lot of these people don't actually have any great idea of motorcycle mechanics, let alone anything about that bike that's going to be useful. But it seems like people have somewhat of an opinion, which is if you buy a bike, you all of a sudden know about it. And you don't. You buy a bike, you have no more knowledge about that bike than anyone else. It's your mechanical knowledge that's the more important thing, really. But also, they don't seem to actually be trying to look after each other at all. On another group recently, an owners group, a guy had bought a bike, I'm assuming relatively recently, going on the state of the thing, and he'd crashed it, and this thing is haggard. You could tell from the picture, the fork seals are blown, the chain is the rustiest, most stuck lump of metal I've seen in my life. And all he's looking for is a radiator, and I just replied to him and said, hey, I don't wish to be that dude, but you've clearly said here that you intend to replace the radiator and that is it, and ride this bike. Forget the crash damage, mate. This bike is really dangerous as is. With that chain the way it is, tells you that there's not been maintenance done to this bike for a long time and it's been sat like this for a long time. It's really likely to snap. If your fork seals are blown, you're not going to get decent, well, you're going to get an unstable bike. And then I automatically will say, well, when was the brake fluid in the pads last checked? Probably never. This is the thing, right? I said to this dude, look, I don't want to be that guy, and in the nicest possible way, you need to do a lot more to that bike than just replace the radiator. It's got pre-existing issues which are very dangerous, like that chain and those forks. I said the nicest way, like, and his response to that was that I was just shit-talking his bike. So if his chain snaps at some point and takes some of his toes off or smashes through his engine casing or something like that, I hope he enjoys paying out the far more money than a cost of a chain or a bit of decent maintenance to fix that issue. This is the problem. You can't penny pinch with motorcycles, okay? If your chain is really bad, like it's out of adjustment and it's just gone, you can't just carry on with it and because you can't afford it. What's going to end up happening is it's going to cause more damage than the cost of a chain very quickly. But people can't see it like that. They don't understand. What, are you turning left here? Oh, okay, apparently not. I think he was just saying hi. Hello. Right, so continuing on, and it is connected, that's why I'm talking about this in the same video. So we're saying about that dude there who he just wants to get his bike back on the road. He just needs a radiator to do that, and it'll be fine. Just leave me alone, man. I just want to put a radiator on, it'll be fine. Now, I know, looking at that chain, that it is going to probably end up hurting him if he continues to ride with it. But he doesn't know that. And he doesn't want to listen to anyone giving him that advice, because that would mean more money. I could just put the bike on the road if I could just get a radiator, I can get out there and I can ride. Great. You are so stupid that you will not listen to sense. And this is what brings me to my other sort of subject, which is you cannot penny pinch motorcycles. Very often, when I get comments from people who are getting their first bike or looking to get their first bike, they'll be talking to me about things that might save them 20 or 30 quid. Well, I could do this instead of this, and that would save me £20. That would save me £30. And it's like, right, so you have budgeted to get a bike down to the pound. Have you accounted for fuel costs? Have you accounted for the maintenance you're going to need to do in the future? Have you accounted for contingency when things go wrong? I'm thinking you probably haven't. You don't want to be in a situation where you're penny pinching 30 quid here, 40 quid there maybe, when it comes to getting a bike. You need to have a few hundred quid behind you as backup to fix things should they come up. Now, thankfully, I am in a slightly privileged position, which is that companies will give me parts for my bike generally, and I've also taught myself to work on bikes, so I don't have to pay someone else to do it, and I can do my job and promote a company and get the parts in return as payment. So, it's a win-win for all. Now, some people see that as free parts, but it's like, right, but if you work to get something, it's not free, is it? Because at the end of the day, if you need your bike so desperately that you are penny pinching down to £20 to get it on the road, then you clearly are in a position monetarily that you need the bike to work. And that's where you see these 125s that are just hanging. They've just had no maintenance whatsoever. And it's at a point that it's actually dangerous. And because they haven't done the maintenance, it's going to end up costing them more. You know that old expression, a stitch in time saves 9? Do you know what that actually means? It means if you have a tear in material that you can stitch now with 1 or 2 stitches, you won't have to do 9, 10 more when you haven't done it immediately, and it ends up ripping more. This is the whole thing of, if you've got a problem, fix it before it gets worse. So equally, don't be in a position where you're getting a motorcycle where you are going to end up having no money to maintain it, because you are just going to put yourself in a worse position. Maybe then your problem will be you've now got a job riding that bike and you've got no money to fix it, and the bike breaks, as I say, and you need it to get to work, and now you can't get to work, and now you can't keep your job. Of course you can find other ways of getting there, but what, is that going to be the bus? Well, that's going to cost you as much as the part you needed within a week, isn't it? So now you need to pay for the bus and you need to fix the bike. Like the boots I'm wearing currently have bloody great big holes in them, and today I tried to replace them for the first time, even though I needed to do this a long while ago. But that's because boots are boots. When I replace them, the entire boot's getting thrown in the bin, so get as long as you can get out of things like that. But when it comes to motorcycle chains or things like that, do maintenance on them to make them last longer. And that just means lubing your chain and adjusting your chain as it needs it. I can't adjust my chain, I don't know how to. Then learn how to do it. Don't take it to a garage to keep getting them to do it, charging you 20 quid a time. You haven't got the money for that. You're going to have to learn. And that is kind of the point. My mum and my dad split up when I was 6. My mum had to bring us up alone, basically. 3 kids, a dog at the time, by herself. She didn't ever have money. So if I was lucky enough to have bought something, or earned money to buy something and was bought for me, and it broke, there was no money to send it to get it fixed, so I had to fix it. And that's just something I've done for years, and it just continues and it continues. And I don't want to say that whole thing of, you can fix a skateboard, you can fix a bicycle. If you can fix a bicycle, you can fix an anti-aircraft missile system. Okay, the point is, if you can learn, you can do anything. And that's something I learned a long time ago, which is, I can learn to do anything. Well, that's difficult, right? So it's just going to take a bit longer to learn. But that means it's a more valuable skill to have at the end of the day, isn't it? This is the point. I'm 38, and I know a few people are now freaking out because they go, I thought you were like in your mid-20s. No, I never have been. I started YouTube when I was like 24, 22, something like that. No, 24? I can't remember. I had a discussion with someone recently about fork seals, and they're like, well, if they go, then I'll go and get a shop to replace them. I'm like, right, this is the thing, okay? I have done work to motorcycle suspension to many bikes multiple times over the years. I know about this stuff. I don't pay people to do my fork seals. But you would rather not listen to my advice or basically discredit what I've said based on what? You don't know how to do the job. I do know how to do the job. You've already admitted that by saying you're going to pay someone else to do it. But you want to disagree with me because you think I'm wrong. That is what's wrong with the world right now. No one respects experience. No one respects knowledge and understands that, if someone can prove, they've done more work to a bike than you, they probably know more about it than you do. Not in all cases. And for the people that are penny pinching, look, I know how much you want your bike to be running. I know that it's difficult if you haven't got money to fix things, and you just want it to be fixed now, and you're so frustrated. But what you are is immature and impatient. Wanting something doesn't change the reality, which is the chain on your bike is so goddamn dangerous, it's probably going to end up getting you hurt. And ignoring people who clearly have more knowledge in the subject than you is just doubly idiotic. But of course, idiots will do idiotic things, and it just compounds. And when you prove to them they're doing something idiotic, do they hold their hands up and go, fair enough, I was being a bit of a prat there? No, they double, triple down. So they're just going to end up getting themselves hurt. So in a way, there's no point saying anything. But as I say, there is my advice. Listen to people about mechanics who actually can prove they know something about it, and don't penny pinch your motorcycles. Have a contingency fund. If you like, right, I've listed it all out and I need exactly this much money, and that's why you're penny pinching down to that £20. Add, a couple of £100 on top of it, and then penny pinch down that, so instead of having, say, £200 in spare, you've only got £150. That's something that's much safer to do. Don't do it when it comes to the actual things on the bike, like a chain or brake pads or anything like that. But again, as well, younger people have got to learn that motorcycles need maintenance, and it's inevitable. You love your bike, right? Well, there is a fact. You love your bike, you use it, it's going to need maintenance. Either you're going to do that, which means you need to get the tools and learn how to do it, which is absolutely fine to do. A basic toolkit, less than £100. Learning how to do it, a million videos on YouTube. I've got lots myself you can watch. Bit of confidence, use your brain, try it out. Or you pay someone to do it, and when you pay them to do it, well, then you can basically triple to quadruple the cost of that job. The point is, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. It's a very old expression, but it applies to so many things. There we go. I hope no one takes this negatively, take this positively. I will help you wherever I can when it comes to advice and stuff for your bike. You ask me, I will help you if I can. If you agree or you enjoyed this video, so if you disagreed but you still enjoyed it, that doesn't make much sense, but if you did, well, good for you. You're a modern thinker, can actually, you're not offended by people disagreeing. Then please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new here, and you can now support me through Patreon or YouTube memberships. If you join the YouTube memberships and you join the Discord, you can go and see the Patreon exclusives listed in the Patreon uploads in the Discord. The problem is I can't make the members only posts because they're unlisted for patrons, and if I make them, it ruins it for everyone. So you'll have to go to Discord to get those links. Or I can start posting them randomly, I guess, if people want me to do that. Members of my YouTube, would you like me to start posting some of the Patreon exclusives just randomly for you to watch? Let me know. Till the next one, bye bye.